Okay, so recently I made a tweet. I said, can I get everyone's honest thoughts on the state of Apex Legends right now? I got a bunch of replies, and I'm gonna go through it, talk about them, talk about everyone's reply, give my opinion on what they have to say, and then maybe give some of my own opinion on the current state of Apex. All right, first tweet. We have somebody you might not have heard of. We have Fade. I think that guy is like a janitor or something at Respawn. I don't know what he does. You might have heard of him. So Fade said, Ballistic Ashe and Alter is the most skillless meta we've had in a very long time. I want to say I love Fade. I think he's cool. No beef with this guy. I disagree with this opinion very much. I think this is one of the most skillful metas we've had, and I'll give my example. So let's just talk about the metas that we have had. We had Seer meta, we had Rev meta. Long ago, we had Octane Bloodhound meta. Recently, we've had Newcastle Lifeline meta. I think in terms of skill, I think it's either above average or at the top of the pack. It's way more skillful than Seer meta. It's way more skillful than Rev meta. And then you could debate if it's more skillful than the Newcastle Lifeline meta, or what I think, in my opinion, was the highest skill meta, which was the Octane Bloodhound Gibby, Wraith Bloodhound Gibby meta back in the day. I think that was the most skillful meta. Maybe like the Valk Bloodhound Gibby meta, I'd say was probably the most skillful, even though that one was a little shorter. I guess my reasoning would be that the Seer meta and the Rev meta, it's like you Seer ult and you win. I think there is more counterplay and more skill expression in this meta, and I think it is way less frustrating than previous metas. I think Rev meta was peak frustration, but Seer was number 2. Rev, it's like you just died. I mean, like they just jumped on you with 75 HP, one of the longest dashes in the game, and because they had more HP than you, they could use guns like the Havoc, guns like the Devo. So it's like, not only did they have more health, they would actually end up doing more damage also because they had to worry less about taking damage. I do understand that it's frustrating to get Ballistic Cute. It's frustrating to fight Ashe Dash. It's frustrating to fight Alter Portal. But in terms of skill, it's pretty hard to argue that these characters don't take more skill than some of the stuff we've had. I think Alter and Ashe specifically, I wouldn't really say Ballistic is high skill. I'd say he's lower than average, if anything. But Ashe and Alter, although it is kind of frustrating to fight them sometimes, not near as frustrating as other stuff. I mean, like, I'm not gonna argue, I guess I can't really argue that it isn't low skill. In comparison to what we've had, I'm not complaining with this meta at all. I'm just not complaining about it. And short answer, in comparison to other stuff we've had, it's not as bad. Okay, so Guild said, comp meta, legend-wise, is pretty fun in my opinion, but I think helmets being removed has made marksmen so unbelievably OP, and I wish they'd add them back. P20 still being busted is also pretty lame, and ranked is still meh, but other than that, I'm having fun. I would agree with what he has to say here. Removing helmets, I think headshot damage reduction should be tied to your armor. I like the idea of having helmets that do various stuff. I think it should add more helmets. I like the red helmet thing. I think it's unique. The other system was a little better, but I think this is fresh. I think it's fresh, it's new. I think it should add more helmets. Maybe they go back to the old version at some point. But for now, I think you should add more helmets. Add the tactical cooldown one back. Maybe add like a blue helmet or green helmets or something. Like add different color helmets, make them do different stuff. Like for example, make them have the ult accelerator on them or something. P20 still being busted is pretty lame. I think P20s are okay. I don't think it's a good idea to have the best gun in the game be RNG dependent. I am a very big anti-bloom person, so I don't like the P20s. I don't like Fortnite gunplay. I think Fortnite's a great game, but I don't like the gunplay. Not the biggest fan of the P20s, but I mean, they're fun. They were fun for a while. I think I'm starting to get a little bored of them though. Like I said, the bloom is kind of annoying. Ranked is still meh. Ranked is not, that I would disagree on. Ranked is not meh. Ranked is horrible. Other than that, having fun, I would agree. I think Apex has gotten a little better the past couple months. They've gotten better at updating stuff, but the bar was very low. So doing better than they were doing was pretty easy. Let's be real. But they're doing better. So, I mean, he's right. I think he's right. Dre said, after taking a break for 4 months, I've realized that the game at its core is still the best BR in the market. Rough around the edges, we all know this, but still fun overall. Solid 8 out of 10, def seen Apex in worse states. Similar to what I said on the guild thing, I'd agree with this. I think Apex is on an upward trend. 8 out of 10 I think is pretty good assessment. I'd say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 in comparison to other stuff. Me too. I took a break from the game for like a month or two. They started making some good changes. I came back and I think he's right. I realized at its core, I think Apex is the best BR by a lot. I think it has the best gunplay, best ability usage. But the best balance of ability usage, the gunplay, the way the game actually works, the maps, the ring. I think it's the best BR in my opinion, is the most fun. I mean, obviously I'm an Apex content creator. That's what we're all gonna say, but I mean, it's my opinion, so that's why I'm here. Drum Bum said, pretty good if you're not a solo gamer. I agree. For some reason, Apex actively disincentivizes playing solo and wants you to play with a group. It basically completely alienates solo players and tells them to basically go play something else. I think that is one of the biggest things this game does wrong. I wish it was easier to play solo. It was more attractive for solo players to play, and there wasn't as many things hampering the solo experience. The main thing being that the games are simply unfair. When you're solo queuing, you are put against 3 stacks. If you have high MMR as a solo queuer, which you probably will, if you've solo queued into your rank, you're better than somebody who had to 3 stack to get there. So your hidden MMR is gonna be higher. So if you're plat, you're gonna be put in like diamond lobbies, whereas the guy who barely got there 3 stacking is gonna still be in gold and plat lobbies. So it's like, it's even worse for you, but it is what it is. Loki Ross, the game has been on upward trend in terms of fun. A lot of players won't realize this, me included, with the game is its best it's ever been. Most of us have a pretty short fuse with the game because frustrations related to how long it took for Apex to get.
Wait, no, wait, what?
Holy. Sorry that happened to you, buddy. What is this? Okay. It took a while for Apex to get to this point, so it's pretty easy and common for players to jump the gun and say some wild things. Once again, I'm also guilty. I'm gonna put some pros and cons of their game is below. Oh my God. All right, Ross, sorry that happened to you. Not reading all that. Daltouche said, ranked matchmaking is bad, Ballistic is brain dead, and Alter is snooze. TTK is a bit too quick in my opinion. Other than those things, it's not too bad overall. I agree. This is kind of something I would expect to be his opinion. Ranked matchmaking is bad. It's bad on purpose. There's not much to say. Respawn thinks it's better to leave it in this state clearly. So there's nothing to talk about. It's just how it's going to be. Respawn wants it this way. They want it to be this way for player engagement, whatever they think. I disagree heavily, but nothing you're going to do or say is going to change their opinion. So Ballistic is brain dead, Alter is snooze. I think Ballistic is the one thing that has started to frustrate me is the Ballistic queues. There's just not enough counterplay to Ballistic queue. I think they should make it so if you overheat, you don't take 30 damage, or make it so if it hits you, it only lasts 6 seconds. Damned if you do, damned if you don't with Ballistic, and it's just like an instant loss. Like sometimes I get hit by Ballistic queue, and like I said, I'm like, all right, I'm dead, pick up my banner. Alter snooze. I think there should be more counterplay once Alter gets knocked. I think if you're knocked, it should take 1 extra second to take it compared to somebody who's alive. And then the portal should open up 1 second faster to make it more viable to take the portal after the team. Maybe 1.5 seconds. I think it should be more easy to take the portal, harder for people that are knocked to take it, in my opinion. TTK is a bit too quick in my opinion. Disagree. I like TTK. I think it made the game more accessible to casuals, which is what they're wanting. They've said it's been harder and harder to onboard casuals as the game has gotten more competitive, more players have gotten better. So I think lowering TTK was a good idea. Other than those things, not too bad overall. I agree. I think it's in a decent state right now. Okay, so Dunk said, bring back helmets, nerf the P20s, where he talks about that. Only allow Alter Portal to be used once, increase Ash Dash cooldown slightly, ranked as pubs, absolutely no risk for W keying. But outside of that, I'm still enjoying Apex. I think it's in a pretty good spot. Alter Portal only be used once. I'll be a little frustrated about Alter Portal. Like I said, allowing it to be only used once is an okay idea per person, and then it breaks. The ideas I said earlier, I think are better to start with, in my opinion. Then maybe do that after. Increase Ash cooldown slightly. I think if you're going to increase the Ash cooldown, maybe adding 1 second, 2 seconds, if you're going to do it. Personally, I think it's fine. Like maybe I would add 1 second and see how it goes from there in the season. I'm a big advocate of doing like small changes, like plus 1 second cooldown, minus 1 second cooldown, plus 0.1 second reload speed. Like I'm a big advocate of doing a bunch of small changes, and then also, still having big changes on the side, like reworks and major character buffs. But if you're not sure about something, or something's like a little strong, just doing little increments at a time on top of your big changes, I think it's a good idea and something I wish Apex would do more. Ranked as pubs, I agree. It's just pubs with RP. Tony said, I was actually having fun last night playing with friends. I've taken a break and then returning. It feels good. I'm about to be diamond rank. It's better. It feels fun. I'm having fun. Tony plays the game a little more casually than a lot of the people that I already read their comments. And I think from a casual perspective, I think the game has gotten a lot better personally. I mean, like I said, I think I've done a lot of changes like TTK and stuff like that, for example, to make it more accessible to people that want to play casually, play for fun, make fun stuff. I could see why Tony would enjoy the season. From his perspective, I see why he likes it. All right, Hockey said, core game modes are incredibly stale and boring. Competitive Apex, current characters and guns are really good. I would lean to agree with this statement. I think the meta is in a much better spot right now than it has been in a really long time. Core game modes are incredibly stale and boring. Also couldn't agree more. Pubs are boring. Haven't enjoyed them for a very long time. I have the most fun in Apex when people care if they die or not. I think the times or the game modes where it's like people just kind of run around, don't care if they die. APU is a solo 1v3, like they don't care. I don't really find Apex to be that fun. I think when people are playing as a team, at least somewhat, and people at least 80% want to win, I think the game is really fun. Pubs and ranked, duos, everything. It's kind of it's in an incredibly casual state. And so for people like me in hockeys, it can be very boring to play for long periods of time, unless you find some other thing, something bigger. For example, for him, it's competitive. For me, it might be grinding for top 10 or making videos. Unless you find something bigger than the game modes themselves, it is very stale and boring. I agree. Terry Faya says, boring. Legend meta hasn't changed. Gun meta makes bad players decent. Storm over 3 ranks once in a row. This feels boring and repetitive. The legend meta hasn't been this for as long as some of the other metas were in place. So I'm not as bored of it as I was bored of some of them, like Rev and Seer, for example. But I'm starting to get a little annoyed at some of the characters. Mostly due to the lack of counterplay that I talked about a little bit. Gun meta makes bad players decent. I think I would disagree with this. I think in terms of weapons, I think we're in a decently skillful meta. The Devo is a little annoying, and I think the Bloom being on the P20s is a little annoying, but there have definitely been less skillful gun metas. You know, they're saying it's bad or it's low skill, but like they've played the other metas. Like I just feel like this is like not a jab, but like I just feel like they're not taking into consideration the other stuff we've had. Because like when you say good and bad, they're like comparison words. And so it's like, what are you comparing it to? You know what I'm saying? Storm Point for rank 3 splits in a row. I don't necessarily have a problem with Storm Point. I think it's an okay map. I think the maps I'm a little more annoyed by are Olympus and Broken Moon in the ranked rotation, because those maps, say what you want about how much you enjoy them. You can ask the developers. They were not designed with competitive in mind. They were not designed for ranked. They are pub maps. They have lots of open space. The buildings are very easy to push. It's designed like that on purpose. They will even tell you that. And maps like Storm Point and E-District were designed with competitive in mind. They will tell you that. They will literally tell you that. So Storm Point being in the rank split, I don't really mind if it's 3 times in a row. Would I want to see it like 6 times in a row? Probably not, but 3 times I'm okay with. I'd be annoyed if we saw like 3 Olympus in a row or 3 Broken Moon, for example. I'm not gonna give this like fence opinion. I think Broken Moon and Olympus should just never be in ranked. For low level ranked and like, you know, diamond, plat, gold, it's like, you're not really gonna see why it's annoying, but early in the split, they had Olympus as one of the ranked maps. And like my whole lobby was like pro players, like 40, 50 people were like 3 times pred badges, pro players. Playing on Olympus was the least fun I've ever had. It is one of the least competitive maps. Should not be in ranked. Right now, in this current state, their very day right now, not talking about the past or the future, ranked is just like a pub playlist. And so Olympus is fine. I don't mind it. But if ranked is what it's supposed to be, which is really sweaty, it should never have Broken Moon and Olympus. Hot Drop FPS said, you haven't been crying so much about it, so definitely better. Okay. Fair take. Okay, so that's all the ones I saw that I wanted to talk about. So I hope you enjoyed the ramblings of a madman. Also, I want to announce Money's Calling. His Wattson edition shirt is here. If you want to buy one, it's on the merch store, hiswatson.store. This is the thing I wore in the controversial Apex commentary video that got like 1 million views. I wear it on the stream sometimes. You can get it hoodie, t-shirt, or the sleeveless, like I've got right here. Money's Calling. You're gonna pick up the phone? Hello? Love you guys. Thanks for supporting me.